President webinar and day 3 of webinar week. At the end of this presentation, you'll find the entire webinar week schedule, so be sure to check out the remaining webinars and share this benefit with your chapter as well. To give you a quick introduction of who I am so you can connect a voice with a face and a name, my name is Alyssa Lechtenstein, and I'm one of your APhA ASP National Members at Large and the starting presenter for this webinar. Joining me in presenting today is Princey John from the University of the Sciences, a member of the APhA ASP National Communications Standing Committee, Eileen Hang from Midwestern University in Chicago, Chair of the APhA ASP National Communications Standing Committee, and Katrina Watson from the University of Houston and the APhA ASP Region 6 Member at Large. This is the APhA ASP National Communications Standing Committee, frequently referred to as ComCom, and we're the faces behind the APhA ASP National social media pages and posts. These student pharmacists all apply to this committee specifically to oversee the communications of the Academy, so all of APhA ASP. Tom English is our APhA staff liaison, and he is also the contact person for articles submitted to Student Pharmacist Magazine, which we will cover shortly. We love to hear from you, so please don't hesitate to contact any of us with any questions you might have about communication. Before we begin, we're going to go over a few procedures to make this webinar run smoothly and effectively. Everyone's currently in listen-only mode. You could either listen in through your computer speakers or through your phone using the phone number and access code that's on your screen. We just ask that you please mute yourself on your cell phone in order to avoid any background noises. We do have time for questions at the end, so during that time, if you click the raise hand icon, we can unmute you and you will be able to ask your question. If questions do come up during the webinar, please feel free to type your questions in the question box of your control panel throughout the webinar, and we will be sure to get to all of them at the end. So first, let's get started to get a better idea of who we have on our webinar. We'll begin with a poll. What is your current APhA ASP role in your chapter? I'll give you guys a few seconds to answer that. Okay, it looks like we have a really good variety here, which is exciting to see. As you'll see throughout this webinar, effective communication is important in every role, and we'll provide various tips and tricks to help you promote events and keep your chapter engaged. We've seen many chapters communicating both within and outside of their chapter through a variety of outlets. Here's an additional poll question so we can get an idea of the forms of communication that your chapter currently uses. Choose all that apply to your chapter. And again, we'll give you a few seconds to answer this. Wow, it looks like a lot of you guys use Facebook, but also it looks like you're using a lot of resources to reach your members and the community. We're going to discuss ways in which your chapter can expand and capitalize upon a variety of communication platforms. To give you some context, Here's a brief outline of what our webinar will cover tonight. We'll begin by talking about this year's APhA ASP presidential theme, Together We Can, followed by the roles of the Communications Vice President. Next, we'll go into the different types of internal and external communications to reach your target audiences. Then we'll give you tools, tips, and tricks of the trade that'll help you engage even more of your members and your community, provide examples of effective communication, getting your message across, and the wide variety of resources that are available for you to take advantage of. Katrina will give us some insight into the roles of the regional members at large and how they serve as liaisons to your chapter and to APhA ASP on the national level. And then we'll finish up with some awesome upcoming opportunities and member benefits, and then we'll conclude with a question and answer session. This year, Kelsey Gallegos, your APhA ASP National President, has come up with the theme of Together We Can. Together We Can encompasses everything we do together as chapter members, APhA ASP leaders, and as student pharmacists. The quote above describes it perfectly by saying that effective teamwork begins and ends with communication. As communications vice presidents and chapter leaders, you'll notice throughout this webinar that collaboration is the key to success. And when we work together, we can achieve great things. We loved how, in the past, chapters incorporated last year's theme of Live Your Why into their social media campaigns, and we would love to see your Together We Can pledge or statement of how you and your chapter members are working interprofessionally among your school and with other chapters to make an impact. We'll discuss more ways of incorporating this year's theme at your chapter. The roles of the Communication Vice President, or CVP, they have many hats. And as we talked about earlier, collaboration is key. The CVP will be working with most, if not all, chapter members and leaders to make sure messages are being communicated and chapter efforts are being heard. Some roles that we will dive into during this webinar are coordinating and organizing your chapter's PharmFlix submissions, internal and external communications, promoting and disseminating various APhA and APhA ASP communications, such as Student Pharmacist Magazine or being active in the regional chapter leader Facebook group, and Student Pharmacist Connection emails, and of course, how you could successfully tackle huge events such as American Pharmacist Month in October, for example. But overall, it's the Communications Vice President's job to amplify the voice of your chapter. PharmFlix is an opportunity to create a 90-second or less public service announcement that could be in the form of a commercial, movie preview, music videos, documentary, or parody, for example. And this year's theme is Together We Can. We want to see you get creative and show us how your chapter has been utilizing this year's theme to continually make a difference at the chapter level, in the community, and in the professional pharmacy. The deadline for your submission is December 1st, and you get to cast your vote for 3 different categories of awards at the APhA annual meeting and exposition in San Francisco. You could check out our National APhA ASP YouTube account to look at past examples, and also check out the 2016 guidelines on pharmacist.com for more information. Student Pharmacist Magazine is a bi-monthly magazine that's available online, and it also comes in a print copy to all members of APhA ASP. Articles are written by us, student pharmacists, but they're also written by new practitioners, APhA staff, and APhA ASP leadership as well. I know that my very first article was published in the most recent edition of Student Pharmacist Magazine, and it was really exciting to realize that my story would be read by thousands of student pharmacists. As a Communications Vice President, it's your job to find students at your chapter who want their message to be heard. Look out for stories of student pharmacists in your chapter and recommend that they write an article for Student Pharmacist Magazine. If you or someone you know has a great idea for an article, you could contact Tom English at the email address above. Who knows, the next time you open Student Pharmacist Magazine, you might see a familiar face. I'm now going to turn it over to Princey, a member of ComCom who previously served as a CVP at her chapter. Having seen a variety of communications on both the chapter level and national level, she will provide awesome ideas on how you can improve both internal and external communication.
Thanks, Alyssa. Hi, everyone. As a CVP, there are 2 types of communication that you can provide. Understanding each type is key to crafting a message that captures your intended audience. The internal aspect is what I would consider more intuitive. You'll help to share information with your chapter leaders and members. As CVP, you play a vital role in helping your chapter members learn about what's happening at the chapter, regional, and national level. At the chapter level, you want to inform your chapter of meetings and events that are being held and opportunities for student pharmacists to get involved. There are also some roles that require you to coordinate with other chapter leaders. For example, your membership drives, American Pharmacist Month, and PharmFlix are activities that require the participation from multiple individuals, so it's important to collaborate with them to meet your chapter's goals. You can also help share opportunities for members from the regional and national level. For example, the APhA ASP national Facebook page communicates opportunities such as attending the APhA annual meeting and exposition, the Carl F. Emswiller internship, and the APhA ASP program. Along with disseminating information to your chapters, your external roles should help promote the accomplishments of your chapter. Through external communication, your target audience will be broader. This is a method to highlight your members' efforts and display the impact of student pharmacists within the community. This is also where the role of the historian is key. By taking quality pictures, you can show your community, university, and APhA ASP your accomplishments. Here are a couple examples of internal communications. Facebook, Instagram, and emails are great platforms to communicate with your chapter, but adding a touch of creativity can help increase your reach. For example, in the middle, you see a great flyer to help entice student pharmacists to attend their general body meeting. Chapters have also developed websites as a resource for chapter members to receive updates. Another option, as a source of communication, could be a student-run magazine or newsletter for chapter members. All these sources have one common specific audience in mind, your chapter members. These examples are ways for you to get creative and to engage your members while disseminating important information. We all receive tons of emails of students, and it's easy to bypass them. But by getting creative, you can effectively get the attention of your members. And this is the first step in ensuring that your message gets across. Next, we have some examples of external communication, which are meant for a broad audience, which is basically anyone outside of your chapter, such as ComCom, your regional members at large, or your local community. One method is having a Facebook recap of a chapter event. In the first screenshot, you can see that the University of the Pacific did a great job of highlighting the chapter volunteering event. They have a short post, but with a variety of quality photos. You have probably heard a picture is worth 1,000 words, therefore you want to make sure you're presenting the best photos you can. For your reference, here is a link to an article by past ComCommer Chris Sedgwick that provides tips on effective photography. Next, we have Washington State University, who collaborated with a local news station to show the impact student pharmacists can have on heart health within their community. And in the last example, Marshall University collaborates with their university communications to describe how student pharmacists are combating prescription drug abuse through APhA ASP Generation RX. Public Facebook pages are a great platform for external communications because it can reach anyone and helps to amplify the reach of your posts to your intended audience. But we'll get more on that later. Your external communication shouldn't be limited to Facebook and social media. You can also write for your school's paper, community newspaper, or collaborate with news stations to reach people outside of your chapter and let them know the incredible things your chapter and members are doing. The options are endless. If you need some assistance creating posts for your chapter's Facebook or Instagram page, I would suggest modeling your communication off of the national Facebook page and Instagram. Along with featuring chapters, the APhA ASP national Facebook page provides a variety of information, such as deadlines and informative pieces that will be valuable for your members as well. The Instagram page is also a resource to highlight chapter events, health facts, and deadlines. As we move on, I will be able to show you how to turn on your notifications so you can see what we post on the national Facebook page. American Pharmacist Month is a great opportunity to utilize both internal and external communication. In order to promote external communication, effective internal communication is needed. The examples I have here are forms of external communication because they are displayed on public pages. But in order for them to be created, there was internal communication occurring within the chapter. In the first example, the University of North Carolina, Carolina Association of Student Pharmacists shared a fact from the national Facebook page. Sharing from the national Facebook page is a simple way to promote American Pharmacist Month and our other campaigns. By using internal communication, you can encourage chapter members to share your posts as well. This in turn helps to amplify your external message. In our next example, the University of Maryland showed their creativity by using a video to help promote their American Pharmacist Month Facebook challenge. While the challenge is intended for chapter members only, they are externally showing their collective end result to engage their members. Auburn University Harrison School of Pharmacy used a video to share the value of being a pharmacist. In order to create the video, they needed to use internal communication to coordinate with faculty and members. And lastly, we see student pharmacists getting the word out about American Pharmacist Month by going to the Today Show. Internally, the chapter conducted sign-ups to let student pharmacists know about this opportunity and encourage them to attend. One thing all these posts had in common was their usage of hashtag American Pharmacist Month. By using the hashtag, all these posts become part of the American Pharmacist Month conversation. Not to mention, it serves as a great resource for chapters to see how student pharmacists are getting involved and getting the word out. As you can see, we are eager to see what your chapter is up to. By turning your chapter's Facebook page public, it can help keep your community, regional members at large, and ComCom members updated with what your chapter is doing. Make sure to turn on your notifications so you can know when you receive a message, because regional members at large and ComCom often use Facebook messaging to reach out to your chapter. You can do this by going to your chapter's Facebook page, clicking on Settings, and then Notifications. Under the Notifications, you will be able to turn on notifications for messages you receive. On the other hand, you should also turn on notifications for the National APhA ASP Facebook page. By turning on notification settings for your page, it's easier for you to stay up to date on things related to APhA ASP. We post about important deadlines and opportunities that you can relay to your chapter. And we also feature amazing chapters so that you can constantly gain new ideas to bring back to your executive board and implement at your chapter. We're here to serve as a resource for you and your chapter, and these are only a few tips that can help promote your social media presence. Now that you know more about the role of CVPs, Eileen will discuss tools and resources to help you with this position.
Alrighty, thank you, Princey. So as a chapter leader, you have a variety of resources provided by APhA ASP to help you succeed in your leadership role. In addition to this webinar for CVPs, there's a CVP workshop each year at the APhA annual meeting, and this is where any aspiring or incoming elected CVPs can come learn more about their position and gain additional tips to take back to their chapter. There are also a number of online resources to help you carry out your roles, like the APhA Communication Style Guide and the CVP Toolkit. Since pharmacist.com can be a little intimidating to navigate for the first-time user, I'm going to quickly walk you through how to find these resources and also highlight a few key points about each one. So first, to get to any and all chapter resources, you want to type in pharmacist.com/APhA ASP into your browser and then log in with your membership credentials. Once you're logged in, you can scroll down to find APhA ASP Chapter Officer Resources, which is outlined in red here, and then click on the link. Once your new page loads up, scroll down to find Chapter Operations Resources. Under the section, you should find Communication and Publication Policies, which is outlined in red here. This section provides you with a communication style guide and any available logos for you to use when promoting events or initiatives like the Patient Counseling Competition, Patient Care Projects, and also American Pharmacist Month. Just make sure not to tweak the logos because the style guide has very specific details on how they should be used. The style guide is essential because it ties communications at your chapter back to national initiatives. So whether you're a chapter of 30 members or 200 members, your chapter is a part of the bigger APhA ASP team, and you represent APhA ASP. So because of this, we want to make sure that we're coming across as one unified voice by presenting ourselves in the same way. So just as an example, many schools of pharmacy may have differing ways of referring to student pharmacists. So a P1 at one school may be a PS1 at another school, and depending on the length of the school's program, a P3 may be a final year student at one school, while a P4 is a final year student at a different school. And so because of these variations between schools, we need to make sure that we're following the guide so that we can present ourselves in a manner that's consistent with the bigger team. We also want to refer to ourselves as student pharmacists and not pharmacy students. And then finally, we should refer to our organization as APhA ASP because we're the Academy of Student Pharmacists and are a subset of APhA. These are just a few examples pulled from the style guide, so make sure that you review the document so that you have a comprehensive understanding of how to accurately portray the association in your communication. Another resource available for your use is the Communications Vice President Toolkit. This is a new resource that was launched by ComCom just this past year, and it's a comprehensive guideline that's meant to help you jumpstart communications at your chapter. Hopefully by now you've gained a sense of all the different hats that a CVP wears, from organizing your chapter's pamphlets to managing communications. The CVP Toolkit basically breaks down all of these responsibilities so that you have an idea of how to effectively delegate to your team. As the CVP, your role isn't necessarily to do everything, like create the video for pamphlets, take pictures at every event, and post on Facebook all the time. I mean, it's great if you can contribute these kinds of skills, but your much bigger role is about finding the talented and creative members at your chapter who want to get involved and utilizing your leadership skills to create opportunities for them, such as different communications committees, and then guiding this team to build communications at your chapter. This is also an essential component of sustaining communications at your chapter because even if you're able to accomplish everything by yourself, you want to find your future successors and also delegate to a team so that once your term is done, your chapter's communications are still going strong. Great leaders are always looking towards the future, so just keep this in mind as you build and strengthen communication at your chapter. The CVP Toolkit also has a great segment on effectively using social media. Communicating on social media is more than throwing a post together. There are actually a lot of things that you can do to ensure that your message gets across. So as Princey discussed earlier, knowing your audience plays a huge component because it's how you frame your message and connect with your audience that really matters. It's also helpful to tag people and organizations when you can on Facebook because when you tag someone, it puts the post on the person's timeline so that way their friends and family can see it too. Great pictures also make all the difference because they catch someone's attention more easily than a block of text can. So then this makes people more likely to like and share your post, and this in turn increases your reach. So overall, it's about getting creative and finding different ways to connect with your audience. And so to illustrate what I mean, let's get into some chapter examples in the next few slides. Our first examples are from the Stanford University APhA ASP chapter. Their chapter has really been stepping up their social media a lot recently, and we've been very impressed. So as you can see here, they have really great high-quality photos that just capture your attention right away. They keep their posts concise, and this is important because it's a headline world nowadays, and shorter posts are more effective on Facebook and social media in general. Their last example shows how they thought outside of the box and made videos to highlight their chapter. Here's a tip. When you upload videos to Facebook, they actually play automatically, and this helps to catch people's attention because when they're scrolling through their Facebook feed, it'll start playing, and that just catches their attention more than having a block of text. And they also demonstrate a really great way to utilize this year's theme as a hashtag in a sentence. So as Alyssa mentioned earlier, we want you to develop your own Together We Can pledges or statements, and incorporating it in social media is an excellent way to emphasize the theme throughout the year to your members. Our next few examples come from the University of Houston APhA ASP chapter. They constantly share our posts, and this helps to amplify our collective voice. So if you're ever short on content, you're more than welcome to share a post from the national page because we have a number of campaigns that run throughout the year, such as the immunization awareness post that's shown to the very left of the slide. They also feature members and events consistently, and I especially love this example in the middle because they took the extra step to reach out to a member and get a quote to share their perspective, and this is a great way to empower your chapter members and also give them a voice within their within your chapter. And then this last example is a creative way that they played up last year's Live Your Why theme on social media. Last year, they featured each of their e-board members sharing their why. And I love how they used chalkboards to add their own personal spin to their social media campaign. It really caught my attention, and it intrigued me to read the rest of their posts. And so this is something you should think about too. How do you want to catch people's attention, and how do you want to incorporate this year's theme of Together We Can into your chapter's communication? Facebook Analytics is another great tool that's often underutilized by chapters. So basically, it studies your audience for you so that you know when to post at the most optimal time. So for instance, we have our screenshot as an example here, and you can see that we get the most traffic on Thursdays and Fridays. It also tells us that we have slight peaks at 11 a.m. and 8 p.m., so these would be the best times for us to post, while 3 a.m. would be the worst time because there's not as many people online. But these stats really vary from page to page, and it's heavily dependent on your specific audience. And so for the national Facebook page, the peaks are less apparent since we have a broad audience that covers different time zones. And so the stats per page could look very different, which is why it's important for you to check out your own analytics and also utilize them to your advantage. And then finally, communication plans make it easy for you to delegate and schedule your social media posts. On the left of the slide, we have an example of a communication plan that we use for ComCom. Our team is composed of 5 student pharmacists who attend different schools of pharmacy in different time zones, and this organization allows us to function seamlessly and consistently. This setup allows us to plan our posts way in advance and then schedule them all at once on Facebook once they're ready. However, this might not work for you, so it's important to come up with a plan so that you can maintain timely updates on your page without having to worry about posting in the middle of a lecture or when you have to study for an exam. I've only touched on a few of the many helpful things provided in the CVP Toolkit, so make sure to check it out if you haven't done so already. And I also know that I covered a lot, so if you have any questions or need further clarification, please reach out to ComCom. We are here to serve as a resource for you, and we would love to hear from you. So with that being said, I'm going to pass this on to Katrina to discuss the role of regional members at large as it pertains to you, the CVPs, and how you can get your stories shared on the national Facebook page.
Thank you, Aline. Hello, everyone. My name is Katrina Watson, and I serve as the Region 6 member at large. This year, I have the pleasure of serving with these ladies alongside me in this picture, and we make up your regional members at large. In Region 1, we have Stacy, Region 2, Laura, Region 3, Rachel, Region 4, Morgan, Region 5, Claire, Region 6, myself, Region 6, Juliet, and Region 8, Anna. Your regional members at large are a great resource to you. We are here to help you in any way possible, especially with communication. It would be great for your chapter to develop a relationship with your regional member at large. In order to better help you, first let me explain what we do. As regional members at large, we ensure communication between chapters and facilitate chapter regional Facebook groups. We will share deadlines from the national page, reminders, and serve as the main point of contact from chapters within your region. If you are not a part of this yet, please reach out to your respective regional member at large so they can add you. We also serve as an extension of the Communication Standing Committee. ComCom, as we like to call them, are always looking for great stories to share from all over the nation. In order to help ComCom, which only consists of 5 members, regional members at large are their extra set of eyes to help capture more stories and recognize the efforts of each chapter. Our role is to help all chapters get recognized for the great things that are being done on the chapter level. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter which chapter is receiving awards or if you're a new chapter. We're all working towards the same thing, and we want to recognize every chapter for their contributions to APhA ASP. The national Facebook page is a great way to get ideas to bring back to your chapter. However, the regional chapter leader groups is a way to collaborate with the chapters in your region and ask questions. As you can see on the right here, Adam asked a question about innovative and successful events for Operation Diabetes. This is a great way to use your own regional chapter leader group, and as you can see, people will jump in and comment with suggestions and ideas. So now you may be wondering, how does the chapter highlight appear on the national Facebook page? Communication starts with the Communication Vice President. The CVP shares stories from the CVP shares stories from the chapter level, things like chapter events or member highlights. Each month, regional members at large go through all Facebook pages from their region and fill out a report on chapter events and activities, which is then sent to ComCom. Some things that make a chapter stand out are unique patient care projects that have not been done before in the past, quotes from members, and great photos. ComCom uses the reports to select extraordinary chapter highlights to be featured on the national page. Approximately 3 chapter highlights are posted every week, so your chapter could always be next. Regional members at large and ComCom help to amplify your chapter stories. While you may only reach your chapter members, immediate family members, and friends through your chapter's Facebook page, getting your story shared on the national page amplifies your voice to reach thousands of student pharmacists and other people across the country. It all comes back to the bigger team, and we want to share your story so that we can all work together in building our chapters and promoting what student pharmacists can do for the profession. Together, we can. We want to be a part of your team and help you achieve this. Now I'm going to pass it back to Alyssa for closing remarks and Q&A session.
Thank you so much, Katrina. So I want to wrap it up with some of the great opportunities and benefits for you to take advantage of. The first of these are the student outreach visits, where each fall the APhA ASP National Executive Committee and APhA student development staff conduct student outreach visits to the chapters across the nation. All chapters this year are eligible for a visit. APhA ASP utilizes this program not only as an opportunity to visit your schools and colleges of pharmacy, but as a chance to learn more about each of your activities and how we can assist your chapter leadership to ensure a successful year. In addition to assisting each chapter's executive committee and chapter advisor, you could also use the APhA Student Outreach Program as a member recruitment tool. During the visit, your APhA representative should meet with students during the start of the membership drive campaign to share valuable information regarding the benefits of APhA membership, patient care projects, student leadership development, career opportunities, awards, scholarships, publications, and networking opportunities that are available at the mid-year regional meetings and APhA annual meeting and exhibition. This program can also provide support for existing membership activities and recruitment. So make sure you sign up on the link above, and I would love to come out to your chapters, and especially if you're in Hawaii, I could come out tomorrow. The mid-year regional meetings are the only conference that are run by student pharmacists and are specifically for student pharmacists. MRM was the first conference that I attended as a first-year student pharmacist, and I've been to every single MRM since. You have the opportunity to connect with student pharmacists in your region, develop your leadership skills, network, learn about career opportunities as exposition, and run for one of the 3 regional positions, engage in the policy process, and unwind at the student social. Registration opens next week, so be sure to check out the link above. Bring a bunch of your friends and create your very own MRM moment. Stay connected by finding out the next member benefit you could share with your chapter. If you haven't already by now, tip, but follow us on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and like us on Facebook. Just like you're sharing important information and highlighting your stories at your chapter, we're doing the same for you guys. Together we can stay connected, showcase what student pharmacists and pharmacists are capable of, and share ideas. We've shared our social media platforms with you, and now we want you to share yours with us. If you know you have a patient care event coming up or an outreach event, let us know. We'd love to highlight your chapter to reach thousands of people in real time after the event and showcase how many patients you reached or which services you provided. As previously mentioned, we also like to see high-quality pictures that speak for themselves. And that's why we created this form this year, so you can let us know what active social media accounts you're currently using. We're always looking for your stories, so we would love to hear from you as well. Connect with your regional officers or shoot any member of CONCOM an email. We all love to hear from you and what you're doing for our profession and academy, and we would also love to feature your chapter to thousands of people nationwide. We want to thank you all so much for taking time out of your evening to attend the Communications Vice President webinar. Along with the other webinars during this week, the recording for this webinar will be posted on the APhA ASP YouTube channel, and I encourage you to check out any that you might have missed and share this resource with your chapter. I also want to remind you about the Finance Vice President and Patient Care Vice President webinars that are taking place tomorrow. Even if you aren't a chapter officer or that specific chapter officer, these webinars are built to improve upon your skills and knowledge, and they're truly beneficial for all student pharmacists. So with that, we have plenty of time left to answer your questions, and keep in mind that this is a really rare opportunity to ask any questions you have and then get it answered from the perspective of those who have served in a communications role from the local chapter level, the regional level, and the national level. So I'm going to turn it over to our moderator, Tom English, who will facilitate our question and answer session. And as a reminder, this will be posted on the APhA ASP YouTube account, and you can find our contact information above and on pharmacist.com.
Thank you, Alyssa, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I have a few questions that I want to share. And our first question tonight is, what if my chapter cannot have a public Facebook page or social media pages in general? One member of our committee like to take that one?
Yeah, I'll take that one. Thanks, Tom, and thanks for your question. Definitely, that is an experience that has happened at some chapters, and I would say to reach out to your regional members at large and your communications standing committee. We all really want to hear from you, and we want your, we want to know what you're doing. And like I said earlier, fill out that form. The link's actually at the bottom of the slide that's up here right now, and we could find out what other social media pages that you're using, or just let us know what you're doing. I would also reinforce using the hashtag APhA ASP, and the hashtag Together We Can with no spaces. We're always looking for those on Instagram, on Facebook, Twitter, so even if you're posting it from your own private page, make sure you make that post public and make sure you use those hashtags.
Great, thank you, Alyssa. Our next question come in is, and for our committee, how do you suggest working with other officers?
I'm going to turn that one over to Princey.
Thanks, Liza. So I was a past CVP, and what I did in the beginning of the year to make sure I had really open communication with other chapter leaders was to try and streamline the process in which we communicated with each other. I felt like in the beginning of the year, I was getting texts and I was getting emails or Facebook messages from the other chapter leaders just trying to help them out. And I thought if we had one method of communicating, it would help me make sure that we were all on the same page. So I had created an Excel document with the other chapter leaders, and we were able to input information that they wanted to share. So for example, who was having an event that week, what time it was, and just so we kind of had an awareness of what other chapter leaders were doing, because as a APhA ASP, we're involved with a lot of patient care projects, and we wanted to make sure that one project wasn't overshadowing another one, and we gave everyone the proper amount of time and attention. So try to figure out a way of what would work best for you and for your chapter, and just communicate that out in the beginning of the year.
Thank you very much, Princey. Our next question is a good one. What do you say in response to people complaining of social media fatigue during social media campaigns? Students from our chapter are posting the same content within the same 24 hours. That's an interesting question regarding social media fatigue.
Hi, Andrew. Thanks for that question. I would say that you really need to kind of understand your audience and really kind of gauge what works for them. I know some people really like messaging through Facebook. Some people prefer text. Some people prefer email, and find out what works for them. Or if you're noticing that people are starting to feel fatigued because of social media and social media campaigns specifically, utilize other resources such as during your chapter general body meeting, or maybe recommending that less people are engaging, so maybe you could tone it down to a post every day or every other day, for example.
Okay, great. Thank you, Alyssa. This next question, Alyssa, I think I am going to direct to you because it revolves around your recent article in Student Pharmacist magazine. And the question is, I'm interested in writing an article for student pharmacists, but I'm a little intimidated by the process. How hard or easy did you find the process, and did you have much experience writing before you submitted your article?
That's a really great question. I was actually the same way. So I'm a final year student pharmacist now, and I've been wanting to write an article for Student Pharmacist magazine for the longest time. And finally, Tom actually approached me and was like, hey, Alyssa, we really want you to write an article for Student Pharmacist magazine. And I was like, oh, perfect. But honestly, I think that the process is much simpler than you would imagine, and Tom is the best to work with. And so I would say that if you're nervous about reaching out, don't be. We really do want to hear your stories. We're always looking for content, and it is really fun to see your face pop up and your article pop up in Student Pharmacist magazine. Don't be shy. Definitely reach out to Tom. He is a great resource, and he really does want your chapters. If you feel uncomfortable with that, talk to any of us. You could email any of us. You could Facebook message me. Whatever works for you. But if you want to talk about your story or discuss what you want to share, let us know. But definitely, we're always looking for articles for Student Pharmacist magazine, and it's not intimidating at all. It's about 650 words approximately, and you send it over to Tom, and he makes any edits, which he barely made, and he sends it back, and then you send it to him, and he gives you a really long time to do this. So, if anything happens, you have plenty of time. So it's a really easy process to write for Student Pharmacist magazine.
And thank you, Alyssa, and I will add on to that as well, is no reason to feel intimidated. You can email me, we can talk about your idea, and the first article that you submit is your first draft. So there is time for you for the article to be edited and for you to review those edits. And so don't worry if you've never done this before. Once you start writing, you're probably going to want to write again, and into the future when you become a new practitioner and a practitioner in pharmacy. So any opportunity you have to write is always a good one. So definitely start with us, start with me, start with the communications committee, and drop us an email, and we'll get you started on that. Alyssa?
Yeah.
Do we have some more questions?
I see some more. I see one from Mitchell Ross. Is there any way we can access this slide deck to take back to our chapters? So actually this entire webinar, including the slides, are going to be posted on our APhA ASP YouTube account. So that's where you can check it out, send it to your members, and look at the slides. I also see another one from Jessica Sinclair. Is there an application on your phones that are used to make poster or informational type photos that contain words to capture attention rather than an actual photo to switch it up once in a while? So I will give you an idea of some of the applications I use and some of the ones we use on ComCom. And actually, we're all pretty different. I know that Princey, she uses actually PowerPoint slides that she turns into PDFs in order to make her graphic. She actually made this graphic. Hang on. She made this graphic right here on PowerPoint. I like an application called Canva, C-A-N-V-A. I thought that's really a good one. I know that Eileen used that when she was quoting some of the new practitioners, and she made the quotes look really nice, and you could change the colors. And another application that we use is PicMonkey, P-I-C-M-O-N-K-E-Y, and that's how we collage some of our photos. And those are just some of the applications that we use. But I would say Canva for yours, the poster informational type photos containing words, is probably one of my favorite resources. And let me see if anybody is raising their hand. I don't see any hands raised, but you could still continue to type in your questions and we could answer them for you. And if there are no other questions, then I will end this webinar, and I wanted to say thank you so much again for being on this call. Oh, wait, we got another one from Lindsay. What type of collection base do you recommend for collecting and organizing photos from chapter events? I'd say that's up to you. We typically use Google Drive. We have Google folders, and we typically collect and organize photos through Google Drive. So we pull your photos and put them in different folders specifically to different campaigns or other things that we're looking to utilize. But I think it's really what works for you. I know that Dropbox is a frequently used application. So it's really up to you guys what your space and your computer can handle. But I'd say the most frequently utilized are Dropbox and Google Drive. I'll give you a few seconds to see if there's any other questions. And again, here's our contact information, so you can reach out to any of the members of the APhA ASP National Communications Standing Committee. You can reach out to Tom, and you can reach out to any of our regional members at large. We all really want to hear from you, and so please, please, please let us know what you're up to. Thank you so, so much for another great webinar, and we look forward to hearing from you and sharing your stories. Have a great night.